Okay, matrix, let's have a look at today's drawing. So, machine drawing, so they've given us Q, and on our answer sheet is Q. So, if we have a look, that there is Q. So, what we're going to do is, especially with machine drawings, always try and draw the biggest part. So, if I'm having a look here, now, please remember, this is the outside of the right view, because they've asked us for a sectional front view and a right view. Okay, and of course, we've got that circle. Okay. So, that is that part of my drawing going there. Now, if we come along and we have a look, and this has been one of the questions quite a bit that I've been getting over the last few weeks, is how to answer a machine drawing. Radius 20, radius 20. Okay? So, that circle there, and why I highlighted that circle, because you can just see it's in line. That's why I've done it. So, radius 20. Coming along here, radius 20. Radius 20. So I know that that is fitting over. So if we have a look at that shape, that is going over there. But now we can see we have my pulley part, which is this part here. And if we have a look, diameter 40. So radius 20, diameter 40. It matches. If we come along, my bearing, which is this part, diameter 40. My washer, diameter 40. So that tells me that those parts all go together. So what I'm going to start off with is that particular part. So I'm going to set my compass to radius 20. Okay. My washer is done, and I've got one mark. Now, coming back to my question, I can see my washer and then I'm going to see my bolt. Please remember, my right view is me looking at it this way. So, bolt is an M20. So, 20 times 1.5 equals 30. Now, I can use my circle stencil, just go and draw. I do know certain circle stencils are a little bit skew. So you can just come out here and double check. Or you could literally just come with your compass. And draw it. Now, a lot of students don't like drawing circles because their compass does what mine has just done. Now, please remember, this is an IEB question. That is why Q and P are given. DBE a lot of the time does not give. Okay. My bolt is done, and that is 4 marks. And they tell me from Q all the way down is 80. Okay. They tell me it comes up 7, and then my 7 is there. Okay. They tell me it's 100. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 100, and I'm also going to do my 60 while I'm there. So 100 is 50 and 50. Okay. I then wanted my 60, which is these 2 lines here. So 60 is 30 and 30. Okay. Then if we come along here, they tell me 7 and 24 and 44, and they give me that little gap. So I'm going to measure my 24 up. There's my 24. Okay. And now we're going to do a little bit of maths. So 44 and 24 is 68, plus 7 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, which gives you 75, and that thing is 80, so that little gap there is 5. So there's my 5. Okay. Now, I'm looking for that distance to that distance. Over here, they tell me it is 80. So 80, of course, is 40 and 40. Okay. Yes, I am going to draw this line through just now. Okay. Now remember, we're looking for everything that is common. So I've got my 40 that is there, got my 40 washer. I'm now going to come in along and do this. So they tell me diameter 140, so that is 70. See, now I've got my nice light circles. Now I can see, I can darken this part at the bottom. See that? Okay. Now they tell me my propellers are 40 by 20. So 20 is 10 and 10. And it is 40. Okay, now I can come and do this side's one. So 40, I've already got. So now I just have to go 10 and 10. 10 and 10. Now I can come along again. Darken, 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 darken. Now, if you remember, hopefully, we had this circle over here, which was radius 30. So that I'm going to add, but I first got to do a few things here. But that's going to basically just close my circle over there. So I'm looking at these little pieces here, and they tell me they are 6 millimeters. So that is 3 millimeters either way. 3 and 3. Okay. Come along here. 3 and 3. And 3. Okay, we've got that. So now I can come here and that is done. My base is done. There is one small thing left I must do on my base. My web over here, so they tell me it is 10 and it's 45 up. So 10 is 5 and 5. And it's 45 up. 10, 20, 30, 40, 5. Yep, I was just making sure of my dot. That comes there, and that comes there. Okay. Take my compass. Just making sure. Have my path there. Okay. Got my cover done. And I've also got my cutting plane done. So yes, I need to put my gear inside there, which I'll get to now. I'm going to come along here. right view. Okay, now I can start here by P. Okay, and they tell me that P is here. So they tell me that that whole part is 50, so I know it's 25. And they tell me it's 10. Okay. They also tell me that that gear shaft is 20. So 10 and 10 is my 20. Okay. Now I can start to do those measurements. So I've done my 10 already, so I've got 48 and 27. Coming along here, 48, 27. Okay. My shaft is an M20, so I'm going to go back 2 millimeters for my thread. And I can quickly just do my thread. Okay, got my thread in there quickly. Now, if we have a look, that is 10 and that is 10. So I know that and that meshes into each other. So I want to get this bit here. So that part there is diameter 38. So that is 19. So from my middle, I'm going to measure down 19 and measure up 19. Okay. This gear is 51. So from my 19, I'm going to measure 51. Okay. I'm then going to find the middle of my 51. And I'm going to do a center line. Okay. I've done a bit of a long center line just to get it out the way. Okay. They tell me that this shaft here, again, is also diameter 20. So it is 10 and 10. So I'm going to measure 10 and 10. And measure out. They then tell me it's 25 and 13. So from here, 25 and 13. Now, my 13 block is 10. So that is 5 and 5. Okay. Okay. I'll come and darken up here again up at the top. I must also put in my small little pieces. So if you remember, I've got this part here. This part here. Okay. Now I want to find the middle of that. It's 2.5. Okay. So nice little center line. And I'm just working out the middle part was 38 as well from 51. Gonna need my calculator for that. My brain is still on holiday mode. So it's basically 6. And I also want the middle of 6. Okay, so that part is all nicely done. Okay. If we have a look here, they tell me 20 and 15. Now 10 and 25, which gives me 35, and that there is 35. So I know that this part here goes around. So I've already got my 10. I'm going to now measure 25. And I'm going to take that 25, lightly up, to the height here. Okay. So they tell me that this is 60. So from my height, going to come along. There's my 60, which ideally should be there. Because if you go 25 and 15 and 25, that will then give you 60. So that there is the same as that 25. Okay. Now again, so got my 25 up to there, and yet there's 13, which is the same as this 13. So I know that this 13, if I bring it down, comes to the bottom there. Okay. And I can come along. Again, just going to neaten up some of my construction lines. I am using a very dark pencil. A few students have said that they can't see the lines, So I am trying to draw it a bit darker. Okay. They tell me that this whole part is 88. So I'm going to come along here and measure 88. Okay. Now I'm going to come along and I'm going to measure 33 and 25. So from here, 33 and 25. So up to my 25. Okay. Now, if you remember, that is also 45, which was this distance here. Okay, they told me I had a little gap here of 5 millimeters. And that comes in and joins like that. So my drawing is now taking some good shape. Okay, now, if I want, I can come along here. So my cover is done. My base is done. And my gear shaft is almost done, and my square shaft is done. Just helps me a little bit with what's going on. I'm going to come back and work on part G. So they tell me 27 and 4 is my pin. So I'm coming along here. 27 and 4. Okay. If we now look, they tell me that my pin is 40. My bearing is also 40. So 20 down, 20 up. I know that's where my pin is going to be. And it's also where my bearing is going to be. So I'm just putting in my pin, and on my shaft, my little bubble. I now need to hatch inside there. Okay, so there is my bush. My bush is 20. Okay, so there is 2 of them. We've got one there and one there. So I'm going to start off. Let's do this one here quickly. So over here, I'm going to measure 20. And I'm then going to come here and 20 up and 20 down. So this is the first bearing that I'm putting in. I think I called it a bush just now. Sorry, it's a bearing, not a bush. Please remember it was a convention, not a detailed one. So I'm going to just put my X's inside. Okay. And then my next one over here, and I'm going to measure 20 again. Okay. Nice and simple. So I've got my bearing going there nicely. Okay, now I can come along and I can add my propellers. So they tell me that this whole part is 30, but I've also got this little bit of my key. So they tell me from my key back is 11, which, as you can see, is that gap there. So I can now come along and measure my 30. Okay. From my 30, I'm going to add my washer on quickly because I remember my washer was 40, and that is 2 mils. Okay, now I can start to put my propellers in. So if we come and have a look here, they tell me 9 millimeters back. Oopsie, can't see that. 9 millimeters back, and then it is 2 and 4. So from here, I'm going to go 9 millimeters and 2 millimeters. 9 millimeters. And 2 millimeters. And my propellers are 4 millimeters. So that is a millimeter on each side. And let's just lighten some of my construction lines. Again, like I said, I am using a very dark pencil, so there are lots of smudges. I do apologize. I thought this didn't look right. I see what I've done. I took it to my bolt, but luckily I've seen it early enough and I can erase it. I will finish up that little bit there now. Okay, my key was 4, so I want to find the middle of my key for my center line. Okay, now I can come along here and I can go, well, I've done my bearing, done my washer, done my pin, done my blades. Okay. Tell me my bolt was 15, so I'm going to bring these lines across here. Measure 15. Please, I am going to repeat this, and I'm sure lots of teachers are probably cringing when I say this. Ladies and gents, nuts and bolt stencil will save you a lot of heartache, a lot of pain. I know teachers don't like us using nuts and bolt stencils, but if you are battling, especially with the bolt, and it does happen, you do get children that doesn't matter how many times you practice it, what you do, that bolt just does not. Ladies and gents, just get a stencil and use the stencil. You don't need added anxiety and stuff like that in the exam. Okay, we have got that. Now I'm going to use my 45 to hatch quickly. Sorry about that. Bit of a Teams call coming through. So I'm just hatching at 10. Again, please remember I'm not winging it. I did have someone ask me the other day, don't you lose marks for just estimating? I do have measurements on my ruler. So a nice little company called Scholaquip. They sell this little ruler that has measurements on it. So it does help big time. Just checking that I didn't miss something. And that's my last little bit there. Okay, over here, I'm going to just come and do a quick, smaller hatching. And hatch through here quickly. Okay, and the last little bit of hatching let's do this one at 5 mils. Okay. Sectional front view AA. Windmill model assembly. Scale 1:1. Now if we come back and have a look, correct assembly, hatching, non-hatching, center lines. And that's done, and that's 41 minutes. In the exams, you've got an hour and a half. Enjoy it, good luck.